Exactly that. And in terms of law, no state shall deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of law. Government should be neutral.
So on that topic, gay marriage was legalized this past summer in all 50 states, and as always, everybody's indifferent about it.
Yeah.
What are your opinions?
I wish the community hadn't chosen the word marriage. Barbara and I have been married over 50 years. I sort of feel like they hijacked the vocabulary. I really don't care who lives with who or what sexual proclivity they have. That's not my business. I don't see what that's the government's business. Um, it's the same issue in terms of equal pay in a sense or feminism. What is the government's intent and purpose? But what would also be the intent of saying the two of you can live together, but the two of you cannot live together? It just isn't terribly.
So if the term marriage, you're not necessarily for them hijacking the term marriage.
Well, they did, and it's done.
And it's done. Yes, but how does that affect you? If
Nothing.
They want to call it.
Nothing at all. There's no impact at all.
Why do you think it?
Your views on this, does it affect any religious beliefs that you have? As
No.
Or
Even in my our religious teachings that I live with, I only live with. They're not absolute.
what religion do you prescribe?
I am
to?
Jewish,
You're Jewish.
and it's the vocabulary you have to describe it. Again, what is the government's is interest? And what people actually do sexually, there's no way for the government to know unless it is, and this goes back to Griswold versus Connecticut case, the right to privacy. In your bedroom, you have a right to privacy. That's the holding of the court. So whether it be contraception or whether it be a particular sexual practice, okay, what is the government's interest?
And what about the Religious Freedom Act that's going around? What is your for example, I'll give you an example. There was a group of nuns that run a Catholic hospital, and they refused to make contraception a part of their health care.
Yeah.
What is your opinion about that? Since
I
they
believe
are,
there is an exemption for that in the law as a religious institution. The problem comes when you have a religious institution that isn't practicing religion but is in the public sphere delivering a service. Okay? And that's different. That's not the practice of a religion. That's a public service already, and the government has a right to regulate that.
right, so
Even if the business, here's a crazy one. Do you understand the word education does not appear in the Constitution of the United States? We may be the only modern nation on the Earth's surface that has no legal basis for public education. Okay? But the only thing that exists is the 14th Amendment, which says that no state can deny to any person within its jurisdiction equal protection of the law. In other words, if it gives to one, it must make available to the other. So, could a state decide it doesn't want to provide public education? And the answer seems to be, in American constitutional law, yes, a state could make a decision. Okay? And then you argue, obviously, that would so enrage many people. Okay? That you would have a political fight, and the fight would have to be waged over what can a state do versus what is a national citizen's right.
So again, about the hospital and about them refusing to incorporate abortions and contraception with their health care, why couldn't the patient that wants to be treated at that Catholic hospital just go somewhere else?
When you need treatment, you need treatment. If it's an emergency, and then I think it's the law, okay, no hospital can deny anybody a public service for emergency treatment.
But what if that hospital is protected under their church organization?
Then and again, the issue has to be, Where is your point? Is that the protection of the human life?
It's the protection of religious freedom, that I have the right to say.
It seems to me quite funny that you would protect religious freedom over somebody's ability to live.
In which way? What way do you mean?
If I was a pregnant woman and I was having extreme difficulties and in distress, and I make it to an emergency room in a hospital, and they tell me I have to go to the hospital 5 blocks down the street because they won't take care of my emergency, and I might jeopardize my life because of that decision, I would say they're acting immorally. My life is important and should be important to them too.
I wouldn't say that your life isn't important to them. It's the fact that we have these values, and if these values don't, you may not agree with them.
I would hope your
go
value
somewhere
includes
else.
protection of my
Well,
life.
If you have that, don't go to a Catholic hospital then. And it's not about we don't value life.
All I know is an emergency, almost by definition, is sort of like an accident. It's not the type of thing you really plan for and have everything arranged for. I mean, you are prudent. For instance, I have a house, in which I taught my underage grandchildren to drive, because if we needed to get my wife to the hospital,